Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome to Friday's stream. This is going to be an interesting, fun one.
Yes.
I think from an educational standpoint, enough people don't know how to deal with rejection. But today is my birthday today, and we are still here.
Happy birthday,
Um,
Michael. Everyone, please, who's listening, happy birthday to Michael.
yeah, guys, please,
Woo!
for my birthday, like, share, subscribe the content. You know what I mean? We work awfully hard to give you guys the best content. And Wednesday's episode, we're actually going to do it on Saturday. So you guys will be able to watch, like, we're going to redo it for you guys on Saturday. But again, let's jump straight into today's topic of how to handle rejection. That can come in many different ways. So we're going to try to focus more on a relationship or asking a partner out. So before I get into that, Anthea, is there anything you want to add before we go into the topic or anything based off of the topic?
Well, based off of the topic itself, if you want me to kick it off here,
Yeah.
like being rejected. First of all, I want to say that you don't. It's not to. I know this is like it's so much easier said than done, but please don't take it personal because too many of us take it in such a personal level and we can dwell on it. So number one, I want to say don't take it personal to women out there, especially like, and if you have been rejected, then allow yourself to feel that emotion. I would say, like, take that time for yourself. And a lot of people do, like, they mope around and they get into this, like, really can get into a bad habit of things. But actually, no, take your time, allow yourself to feel that emotion. And yes, if you want to mope around for a day or two, then do so. But don't let it drag on because it's just one person out of how many, like, what, we've got 7.5 billion people on this planet. Like, honestly, we don't have to take it that personal. And I want to also say, like, if you are feeling really quite hard done by it, then surround yourself with people that really love you and you love, so they can lift your spirits up and get out there, do things that you love and show yourself. You don't need somebody to have to say yes to you in order for you to feel worthy, because way too many times we take it as an unworthiness or there's something wrong and we question ourselves, what's wrong with me? But it's nothing wrong with you. It's one person's opinion, that,
Mm.
and and if they don't want, if they're not interested, they're not interested. Just how the world goes round.
Well,
We
I want to
can't
break
all
it
be
down.
interested.
I want to break it down from two scenarios because you raised some interesting point. I think, okay, let's say you're in a relationship with someone, right? And they reject you. Now, again, we're going to use like real time context here. Let's say, for example, you have a couple and the wife says, tonight, I don't want to do it tonight. I don't want to do bedroom fun tonight. The man might take it some type of way personally and say, well, my wife doesn't desire me, right? Or he might want to, cheat, whatever it is, especially if it's continuing rejection. I think in a relationship, it needs to be discussed if it's happening a lot.
Communication.
So, for example, well, that's one example. We're also going to do like the woman. Let's say you're a woman and your husband, and you keep asking your husband for date nights and he keeps rejecting it. You need to know how to handle that. And I think that's where communication comes in, where it's not discussed, right?
And I think you've just hit a key point there, Michael. It's all about the communication, because if it happens once and you don't say anything, like, let's say my man's set up for us to go out, or I've set up for us to go out, let's say, and then he says, yeah, I'm going to be there, and then he doesn't turn up, then obviously I'm going to be upset. It's going to get to me in some way or another because he hasn't showed up, and he gives an excuse. And say I don't say nothing, and then next week he does the same. He sorts something out for us to go out, and then he lets me down at the last minute, and I don't say nothing. Then that will just literally build and build, and then what's going to happen? One day you just explode, and you start. It will just go into crazy mode. So rather than that, like exactly what you said, communicate it. Let that person know, let your partner know, look, you know what, that actually hurt. That really genuinely it hurt me that's happened. And it didn't feel very nice. So if it's gonna happen, please like let me know that you can't make something, or just don't organize it or say yes in the first place. So then that way we're avoiding these things happening. And if it continues to happen, then you've got to continue to communicate about it, right?
See, I would say in that scenario, I would ask, like, how can we fix this so it doesn't happen again? Like, what are things that we can put on paper so this doesn't happen, especially if it's a continued behavior?
Yeah, especially if it's continued. Absolutely.
Because now you're going to feel unwanted.
Yeah. And that doesn't feel nice. You know
No.
what? You know what, Michael? I've actually got a real life experience that I
Go ahead.
remember where somebody was rejecting me when it came to the bedroom. And oh my goodness, that was probably, it's one of the hardest things to actually deal with. And he didn't even want to communicate with me. Why? It was just always like just brushing it off, brushing it off. But then look, like I said, this is why I said, ends up coming to a point where everything just breaks down. And hence why, one of the reasons why we're not together, because he didn't want to discuss it. He didn't want to tell me what the problem was. He didn't want to communicate things with me. So it comes to a point where actually I then shut down as a woman. And once, as many women probably know this already, once you decide that you're out, you're out.
Oh, yeah.
You're just,
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
you're
Once a
out. That's
woman's
it.
checked out, she's checked out. Like,
She's
she's out.
checked out, man. She's done.
Like it's
Absolutely done.
like, hello, is anybody home? Like, no
Yeah.
one's home. Like
Nobody's home. And it
the
doesn't
lights are
matter
not
what that
on.
person says to you. They could go, I'm sorry, and please give me one more chance. And it doesn't matter what they say. I'm checked out, man. I'm done.
Well, you know
That's
what? I
it.
appreciate you sharing that story. Before I share mine, how would you handle it now
I
with
was
the stuff
somebody,
that you
I
know
think
now?
I would completely, first and foremost, I would want to sit down and have a conversation first and foremost. And if they didn't want to communicate back with me and have that conversation, then I would then ask, what's going on? Where are we going with the relationship if we can't communicate and you can't tell me what the
Mm.
problem is? I would squash it from the second go. And if nothing was coming from it, then I would clearly just, I would honestly, and this is absolute the truth, I would just turn around and say it's not going to work.
I like that. See, it's funny though, because I understand how you feel. I dated somebody like that, and in our relationship, I was like, hey, like, we need to spend more intimate time together, right? And again, when you live the life of working a 9 to 5, building side hustles, all those things, right? Time's very limited. So I always tried to pencil in like us time. Either it was like intimately or just like even a Zoom call, right? And again, and it's no shade towards this person, but every time they kept rejecting it, I felt like, I'm like, why am I here? What
You
is the point
question
of
it.
this relationship if I'm going to constantly be rejected all the time? I didn't feel like the person treated me as the leader and the man in the relationship, when everything I say was just being shut down, shut down, shut down. And it was one of the hardest decisions I make because I had to break up with this person. I didn't want to. We had all these grand plans to like do these amazing things. And I had to break it off because I'm like, yo, look, I'm not going to sit in a relationship where I'm constantly rejected.
Yeah. And those plans will never have come into play anyway, because if they can't actually stick to just a Zoom call and give you that time, then they're not going to travel the world with you.
Well, that's the thing. I love that you said that. See, even with the smaller things, it's if I can't trust you with a 20-30 minute Zoom call,
Right.
then everything else is
Exactly.
just out the window.
Absolutely. And I think
So
this is why it's really important to really, like, I don't want to say scrutinize. I will use
no.
that's just come to my mind, but you kind of have to be really so aware of what's going on, but not to the point where you're paranoid about things. Just be like, I think when you're aware and um don't no not pick it's not about picking out at things and being like, oh, I'm pinpointing this and this, but it is being able to see the woods through the trees type of thing. You've got to be able
Mm,
to understand what's the dynamics going on. Is it just one thing that you're being rejected in, or are you finding yourself being rejected in many different aspects of the relationship? And every time, and if you are trying to communicate and they're shutting it down on every angle that you're bringing to them, then you have to ask yourself, why am I putting myself through this? I don't have a
mm.
reason. It's like there's and too many people, and I've said it so many times, will stick with it just because there's somebody there, but it's not a reason. That's why I always say self-love comes first. You
I love that
must
you're saying this. Oh man, because all these crazy thoughts are coming to my mind.
go for it.
See, in my situation, the person I was dealing with couldn't deal with healthy criticism. That's what it
Right.
was. And again, when you're with someone that's healthy, and I've realized this, and again, I'm gonna say this on this podcast, we have no filters. Some women cannot handle criticism. They look at criticism through a one-way lens of like, you are being mean, you're nitpicking, like you're being malicious, when it's like, no, I'm telling you that there's something wrong in our relationship healthily. I was never malicious when I said it. I said we need to start spending more time together. I said, you know, this part of our relationship is lacking. And I
Yeah.
was never malicious, but that's what I'm saying. There's a such thing as healthy criticism. And I just think a lot of times, not all women, but some take it as just flat out criticism.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's a barrier that gets put up, isn't it, Michael? It's like as soon as you hear somebody say something that you don't like, it's
Mm,
bam. Oh, I'm taking it so personally. And it's actually to help the relationship build that it's being said. And that's the
yes.
reason why it's being said in the first place.
And it's
But
healthy.
yeah, it is healthy, because I think like we said the other day, so many of us are so programmed to be in unhealthy
In our feelings
relationships.
first.
Sorry.
In our feelings first. Like
And in
we're
our
very like we
feelings.
like feeling like I like feelings first. But go on with your idea.
Yeah, but yeah, where it's been like so many people have been programmed into a unhealthy type of relationship.
Mm,
When it comes down to actually having a good person, a good man or a good woman who actually wants to communicate with you, people take it as a really bad thing. Like, oh my goodness, like, what you doing? Like, we're supposed to like just scream and shout at each other, you know? So yeah,
no, I agree with you, and that's the problem. You have to understand healthy criticism. When you're in a relationship, that is part of it. You can't look at it as rejection. The person's trying to talk to you and say, our relationship is lacking in this area. What
yeah,
are we going to do about it? Here are some solutions that I have.
yeah.
Instead of taking it like, oh, you're always nagging me about this, this, and this. You're always complaining about this. You sound like this. You know what I mean? And it's like, at the end of the day, I'm trying to keep us together.
Yeah.
That's what it is, right? So again, because again, and I'm glad that we're talking about this, because I've spoken to all types of women. I've spoken to women that are like, my man hasn't hugged me in like months. He hasn't kissed me. He hasn't taken me out on a date. That's rejection.
That is big time rejection. And it's that, you know what? Nobody needs to live that. Nobody needs to live that, Michael. I like it, it hurts my heart because it's like, actually, I can be single and be like that and not have any of that. But why would I want to be in a relationship if my man's not being assertive to me or intense, like taking time for me, or if he's not taking time for me, then who are you taking time for?
Yeah, but then the thing is, though, that's the question. That's the big picture thing is, why are you staying? Why are you,
Yes.
every day you're signing up for it, right? But
Yes.
we're also going to be logical here. We understand if you have a house and kids with this individual, you can't just walk away.
No.
You know what I mean? Like, we're not just telling you, oh, just walk away. No, like, that's different. You have a house, kids, things in each other's names. You really got to work it out.
Yeah. But
You got to go to
if you
therapy
really
or
can't,
something.
but if you really can't come to an agreement or an understanding, and if somebody doesn't want to hug and kiss you or take that time with you, then there's something, obviously there's something not right. So it must be communicated. They
Mm,
without arguing though, and it's got to be a genuine
I like
sit
that.
down, like, look, what is going on? Because at the end of the day, people do grow apart and people just naturally could have been together for so many years that they've come to a point where they just want something different, and that's not a
Mm,
bad thing. I, okay, I think, when you take those marriage vows, it's a forever thing, but it doesn't mean that you're gonna always be there. Like, you can't feel bad about it, because why would you want to live the rest of, like, up until that point? Let's say you've had an amazing, or not amazing, but you've had a good relationship,
mm,
let's say for 20 years, and then you start to notice, or things are starting to not be the same, and you don't really feel the same for one another. And you've been on, maybe you've been on holidays together to see if you can rekindle and bring that spark, and it hasn't happened. Then I don't think that you need to really, like, bang it into place, because then you're going to have a point where the next 10, 15 years of your life is going to be miserable. Like, because in a relationship, we said this the other day, what it does, do you have to be happy? Does happiness, I can't remember the title now,
and
happiness in a
being in a
relationship.
relationship, like, does happiness require you being in a relationship? And it doesn't. We did discuss that for sure.
Yeah,
I
so
see what you're saying, but I think it should be a last minute option.
yeah, that's what
But
I
I
mean.
think
That's what I mean. You've tried,
people jump to it so quick, like, I'm just gonna leave
too
you, but
quick.
blah blah blah. And it's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Like, especially when you have children, like, it's not about you, it's about the kid.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I
but
think it
then
should be a last minute option.
yeah, but then, even especially if there's children, Michael, because if you two are not showing affection to one another and you don't want to be around each other, and you've come to that
Mhm.
stage and you're both rejecting one another, then the
Yeah.
children are seeing that. And guess what? They're going to grow up. And if you continue to do that, they're going to end up in relationships doing exactly the same
Facts.
thing, because they're just going to do what their parents done. So a lot of people do think that, actually, let's just stay in the relationship for the sake of the child and to keep the children happy. But you don't realize how tuned in children actually are. They're
Mhm.
super tuned in compared to adults, and they know what's going on. They don't have to hear it. They feel it from the core of their being, what's happening,
See,
because
I would
they
say this. You're absolutely right. You shouldn't stay together for the kids, but I think it should be a last minute resort outside of the fact that you've tried everything else.
yeah, absolutely, I agree with that,
Yeah, like, you've tried
100%.
everything else before you've
Yeah.
assessed that option.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. But like, my point really is, don't stay just and be miserable
Oh,
in a
don't stay and be
relationship.
miserable either. Like, if your partner is rejecting you, especially your needs, and you've voiced your opinion on it, and you've given solutions, you've said we can do this, this, and this, like, you're trying.
Yeah,
And they've kind of like, oh yeah, but there's no action behind it, or it's just very lackluster. The person's literally telling you where they stand with you. Literally, they're telling you, like, I've kind of checked out of this relationship. I hear you, but they don't care enough to put in the effort.
mm.
That's
And you
that's
don't.
what this is.
And I think, you know what, you're so right. And it's not about arguing. It's not about arguing. Like, and I've been there. I'm saying it because I've been there, and I've got experience where arguments break out. The person wants to argue with me, and it's like, well, why do you want to argue about it? At the end of the day, if I don't feel this way and you don't feel this way in a positive way, and bringing each other down. We're rejecting one another continuously. We actually don't really want to be together. Then why would you argue with me about it? Like, if that's what it is, that's what it is, right?
Well,
Um,
I believe in the 80-20 rule when it comes to dating. There should be 80% positivity, 20% negativity, because you're not
yeah,
always going to get along, right?
no.
That's but I think if you could rationalize it, the majority of your relationship should be good.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. You need to be in a relationship that you feel that, you do feel good in.
Mhm.
Like you said, 80% of the time, there's
Yeah,
going
the
to be that
80-20 rule.
20%. Yeah. I mean, cool. That's the same with ourselves, isn't it? In our relationship with ourselves, like 80% of the time we could feel really good about ourselves, and 20% of the time we could feel like absolute beep about ourselves,
Yeah, because
So
think about it. Nobody's happy 100% of the. If you were, I'd be like, yo, that person might be on some
something.
stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I'm like, you're happy all the time, like all the time. Like I'd be like, whatever you're on, share it with the rest of us.
Yeah. But
But that's what it would come down to. So I think how we handle rejection is very important. How we handle it. Some people
yes.
lash out. Some people are malicious. You have to learn that when your partner rejects you, it's not about you. They could have things going on in their lives. There could be a multitude of things on why they're rejecting you. But if it becomes a constant pattern, now it's about you. And I think you're able to identify that. If it's happening like four or five times, it's like, whoa, this isn't just about you having a bad day. This is about you not being happy in this relationship because you're constantly rejecting. It's not a one-time thing. It's a repeated pattern. So it's like, okay, how do we get back on track?
Yeah. And I think, like you've said many times as well, I think, one of the options is to go to a counselor,
Therapy. Therapy.
therapy, sorry, to sit down and go and talk about it, because you've got together in the first place for a reason. If you've had children, let's say, as well, and you've built this life, then therapy, can help you in so many ways, where they're asking you certain questions that can draw out what the problem is, because we don't always have the answer there and then. Sometimes we don't even know ourselves what the problem is, especially
Mm.
with women, because we are emotional beings, like big time, and we do lead off our emotions. So we could have anything can be happening, and then in our world, and we can take it so personally, and
Yeah, the
just
criticism. It's like, as I said, like not all women, but some women do not take it well.
yeah, but I think I think if there's a bit of advice in this one, is to look at it in a bigger picture of things. Look
Yeah.
at what is really going on a bigger picture. And if it is just small little things, then it's little things. But once if they start accumulating, there's more and more and more and more and more, then, really do have to sit,
Yeah,
number
now you
one,
have to sit down. Yeah.
and communicate it without shouting, take time, you know, before you go and communicate it. Breathe, take some time, go for a walk first, go and just clear
Agreed.
your mind. Yeah, just kind of have a good idea of how you want to approach it. What is it you want to speak about? Pinpoint what it is as well, and don't just go, well, I don't know what it is, but there's something not right. you know be specific about things, and I think
Ah,
that's
that's a
really
good one.
key.
Yeah, don't just ramble, like get to the point. What are we working out here?
Yes.
Before we go, I actually want to cover another form of rejection, which I think is important. Guys, when you ask a woman out and she says, I'm not that interested, leave her alone. Don't try to convince her to be interested, and don't take the rejection personally. If she's not interested, what she's saying is there's not enough value in you. And don't take it personally that she does not see enough inherent value in you for her to want to invest. That's it. It's the world. Not everyone's going to like you. Not everyone's going to want you. And I think that is a big problem for a lot of men is they'll overly pursue a woman when it's like, she's like, oh, I'm not really looking for something. And then the guy's sitting there, well, I'm going to convince her. I'm going to get her flowers and do all these nice things. I'm going to comment on her post. I'm going to like everything. For what? You're giving away free attention and validation, and she's never going to reciprocate. She's like, yeah, thank you. Oh, that's cute.
And then
You
another
know what I
woman
mean?
can come along a couple of days later and actually see the value in you, you know? Be open to
Exactly.
that.
So, guys, don't take rejection from females personally. Really don't. If you like a girl, you ask her out, she says, well, I'm not looking for that. I'm looking for whatever, or I want to stay single. I want to work on whatever she tells you. Just walk away. Just
And you
let it
don't know
go.
when you meet somebody at what stage they are in their life either. So they could have just split up with somebody and they need that time
That
to
too.
heal. They need that time to themselves. So you've just come along at the wrong time, which is possible. And it could be that a few weeks later, you know, if you, let's say you haven't met anyone in between, and that girl, you might bump into them again. And she's
Yeah.
taken a number of, a bit, you know, a good few weeks to take some time for herself, and maybe she might be interested. But like you said, if you keep pushing at somebody,
Mm-hmm.
it's like the more the more you push, you
No, the
resist it.
more
It's like,
she gets turned off by you. If we're being
yeah,
honest, right? The more you overly pursue, it's like for a guy, you're in your feminine energy when you're doing that. So then
yeah,
she jumps in her masculine and gets repelled and says, well, I need space, I need time, I need whatever, because you've repelled her away with your over, like, I need you, I need you, I need you. And you've repelled her away, right? And after she's rejected you. So that's why I always tell guys, shoot your shot. If she's not that interested, her mind is occupied somewhere else, don't take it personally. But choose someone that chooses you. Go find another woman. There's plenty of them out there. Go find another woman that will reciprocate. And ladies, Anthea will probably add on this. Don't take rejection from a guy personally.
yeah,
Do
don't.
not. This is how you guys get swept up in situationships. You'll meet a guy, you think he's cute, you flirt with him. Maybe you start having the bedroom fun with him, but he never gives you commitment. And we've talked about this on the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't give you commitment. He's rejecting you, right? And I heard something from a judge. She says, how many times does someone have to reject you before you catch the clue and you keep embarrassing yourself? Somebody shouldn't have to reject you more than once.
It's so true. And please, and don't dwell on these things either.
Mm-mm.
Like, find things that you can do. Like, you know, if you like going for walks, if you like going to the gym, or if you like going out to do some salsa dancing, or whatever it is, or writing books, or whatever it is that helps you keep positive in your world, then that's the way to actually bring in a good relationship too, you know, to
I
have that.
agree with you. And that's why I was speaking to the ladies and I said, look, if you are having bedroom fun with a guy and he's not committing to you, you're in a situationship, but he is rejecting you because he's not giving you the commitment that you want. You know what I mean? Most of the time, when a woman likes a guy, she wants commitment from him. Am I not? Am I wrong, Anthea? Most of the time, they want
Absolutely.
commitment, right? But if he's not
Absolutely.
committing, then it's like you're sitting there saying, "Okay, well, I'm gonna fold his clothes. I'm gonna go out and get him his favorite sushi, and then he's gonna commit to me." He's
No.
rejected you, honey. He took what he wanted. You gave it though,
Yep.
but he took what he wanted, and now he's not committing to you. So that's
No.
all I'm saying is he didn't see enough inherent value in you to want to get into a relationship. He saw enough inherent value in the bedroom fun side of things,
And that
but
was
not
it.
the other side.
Yeah.
So you shouldn't take that personally. You could say, you know what? Maybe I need to be a little more selective with my men. Maybe I need to hold off on the bedroom fun until we're in a relationship. Be a little more concerned. It's the same thing with guys. I see guys go through this, and I've been there too. A girl will reject you, but she'll still text, she'll still call, she'll talk to you about her problems, and you'll take it as, oh, I think she's interested. No,
No.
she's not. She's pretty much saying, you're one of my girlfriends. I see you like an emotional tampon or whatever the situation may be. And the guy's trying to validate, okay, she cares about me to some degree. She doesn't.
No. It's
She's
called
slowly
using.
rejecting you. That's what it
It's
is.
it's called using. It's called using someone to get what they need.
That too, exactly. Using somebody, rejecting somebody, no matter what way you want to put it. And that's why, as I said, you don't want someone to have to reject you multiple times.
No.
If you
No.
value yourself enough, you say, okay, it once was enough, I'm out. You walk away. We
Absolutely.
have to become very comfortable with walking away and detachment.
Yes, 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 yes. And that, you know what? And it does take time. It does take some. It takes some balls, man, to be able to do that. But once you really value yourself and you know what you want and you know what you're about, and somebody comes to you and they're not giving you what you're what you're wanting, then don't accept it, man. Don't stick
Mm.
around. Value you. Put that energy and that time into you and move on, because there's more than enough people out here. Like, we live in an abundant universe here. Like, there's more than enough to go around.
Well, I'm going to add
So
something that what you said. I don't think you should deal with people that give you what you want. That's how you get used. You want to focus more on the people that give you what you need.
what you need, yeah, absolutely. What you need, what you want, what you desire, what is the
Because wants
overall
and needs are
thing.
so different, right? Like I could want ice cream tomorrow, but I can want something else the next day. But what I need, it means I can't go without it, right?
Yeah,
So we all have like, well, let's say we get into a relationship,
we
you
need
have what
commitment.
you need. If you were
Yeah,
like, I need to see you 3 times a week, that's not a want. That's all I wanted. That's no, like I cannot be in a relationship with someone if I'm not seeing them 3 times a week.
yeah,
So
absolutely. No, I agree
that's
with
what I
that.
think it's about, like also dealing with that side of it, because a lot of times you'll deal with people, and this is how you get like finessed. They give you what you want, they give you time, attention, energy, whatever, but they never give you what you need, which is
Yeah, and
commitment, like a
it's a good point.
relationship,
Good point.
um, like those type of things. They'll give you attention, you know, they might feel bad for you, whatever. Like they'll give you a want, but I always try
It's
to
the
drill it home
need.
is do they give you what you need? And that's how
Maybe we
you
need to do
know
an
it's the
episode
right
on this,
person.
actually.
You'd like to do an episode on it?
Yeah, wants
Sure.
and needs, the
Sure.
differences. Yeah,
I
let's
will
do
pencil
it.
that down. So hopefully you guys took something away from this, how to handle rejection, because please handle it better. Learn how to handle rejection peacefully. Don't always take it offensively. Now, if it's a constant repeat, now we're telling you to step in and have a conversation. But don't always say, oh, it's about me, me, me. Only if it's a repeated pattern.
Yeah, I agree.
So yeah, we don't want to take too much of your time. As I said, we're gonna see you guys tomorrow. Do a special episode tomorrow, of the one up for Wednesday, on how to tell if someone's a user, because it does tie into what we're talking about here. And yeah, thank you very much, guys, for tuning in. Please like, share, subscribe, and we will see you guys soon.
Take care.